What's good, y'all? It's your good sis Erica Bain back again with another new series alert. In this video, I am talking about the Apple Plus series Swagger. Created by Reggie Rock Blythewood, the husband of Gina Prince Blythewood, one of my favorite directors. And shout out to amazing member / friend Melissa, who's like, Erica, you gotta watch this series. And she was right. And y'all, you gotta watch this series. So if you haven't seen it already, please stop what you're doing and go and check it out on Apple Plus. It's definitely worth it. Low key, y'all, I'm getting into Apple Plus series. I'm a little bit behind on the curve, but they are coming with it. They are coming with it with the content, and you really should be watching it. I know that they have a 7-day trial, so if you're concerned about that, you can go ahead and watch a bunch of amazing stuff for 7 days for completely free, and I think it's like $4.99 a month. But also, check your stuff out, because if you got a new iPhone, they also are giving Apple Plus subscriptions out with the new iPhone. So anyway, do what you gotta do and make sure that you can watch Apple Plus on Apple TV, because it's given, okay? But without further ado, let's talk about episode 1 of Swagger. This series is a series, I believe, that's based on the life of Kevin Durant, and it specifically goes back to his childhood as he was coming up from middle school into high school and basically performing and being a young phenom and really becoming the basketball player that we see today, but all of the things that happened to really, set the groundwork for him to be who he is. Swagger is starring Isaiah R. Hill as Jace Carson, O'Shea Jackson Jr. as Isaac Edwards, Shinelle Azoroh as Jenna Carson, Quvenzhané Wallis as Crystal Jarrett, Caleel Harris as Musa, Rahaim, and more. So, Jace Carson is the star basketball player. He's actually still in middle school, y'all. So that was the twist that I wasn't actually expecting. Typically, when we see these types of stories, it is with the high school athlete. I immediately went to All-American when thinking about this series, or like just thinking about what is it like. However, this young black man is way younger than Spencer James. And another thing that I noticed is that this young black man is a little less humble than Spencer James. Now, while if you aren't watching All-American, you might not get these references, but for the most part, everybody on the channel is watching All-American. Spencer was definitely confident at the start of the series. He had a little anger to him, but I still like Spencer. I don't know how I feel about Jace to start the series, because this young man is talented. He's amazing at basketball, but he also knows it, but also knows it too much, I feel like. I feel like he knows he wants to make it to the NBA. He knows that he's going to make it to the NBA, and he moves with a certain attitude of he can kind of do what he want to do, or he's better than. And that's something that I don't like. And it's well, maybe that's something I got to work out within myself, because, he's operating with a ton of confidence and all that. But to start the series out, I'm not necessarily sure if I like him as the main character. I don't know if I actually am rooting for him just yet. Throughout this first episode, he definitely comes up against some adversaries. The start of the series, they are trying to figure out where's he going to go, what's his new team going to be. The one thing that I do wish that they had given us more information with is why is he looking for a new team this year? And it's not his new middle school team, it's his new AAU team. And I would love to know the story behind why he had to change teams. What is actually going on. That's something that's said multiple times throughout the episode of we gotta find you a new team, we gotta find you a new team. And the mom, Jenna, she actually approaches Isaac while he's working at this hardware store. And Isaac is a former child prodigy basketball player as well, but didn't quite make it to the NBA. Now is back working in his hometown, living a regular life. His wife or his girlfriend is pregnant, and he's just, doing what he does. He does coach his AAU team, which is Seat Pleasant Grind. They're not the best team, they're not the worst team. He's just kind of living this okay kind of life, right? The mom looks him up and actually seeks him out so that she can get Jace onto his team, because she thinks that he needs to be coached by him. But again, I just want to know what was wrong with his previous team. Why was he looking for a new team? What did he actually need that they weren't providing? Because that wasn't actually clear. And if I missed something, let me know in the comment section down below if you figured that out, or if you feel like they said that, because I don't feel like they said that. But anyway, he actually winds up on Isaac's team, but that is not without a little bit of hardship as well, because he carries himself just like and it's like, that's cool and all to have confidence, but to then have it go to a far extreme of arrogance, and you only 14 years old, it's like, simmer down, little Timmy, because you're doing too much. At that first practice, he basically disrespects the coach and tells him if he needs help with a plunger, he'll let him know. And it's just like, what you say? What you say? Go ahead, bring your ass out here real quick so I can go ahead and spank it. Because you must not know who I am. And the coach and Jace have a one-on-one game, and the coach winds up winning. Jace is just so embarrassed. He is not a good loser at all. He runs off, and then now all of a sudden he wants off the team because the coach just beat him at this game. And it's like, no, this is what you actually needed. And y'all, this is what I was saying in reference to, like, not necessarily knowing if I liked him or not, because I just felt like the comment that he made about, oh, if he needs help with a plunger, he'll let him know, was very disrespectful. Like, not only is this an elder, but this is your coach, and that's what you're saying to your coach? Never mind all of the layers behind that of, like, he probably don't want to be working at this hardware store. He don't want to be helping people find plungers and this and that, and you gonna throw that up in his face at practice because you didn't like the feedback that he gave that's gonna make you a better player? I can't. But you know, that's also part of rearing children, right? Like, kids start to feel themselves, teenagers start to feel themselves, and you have to correct that, but it's just the process of watching that. It's just like, oh, I don't want to see him go through this. However, it's normal. Like, it happens. So that happens, and he wants off the team, but Jenna's like, yo, this is going to be the coach for you. Whatever, he's cool. He actually winds up looking up the coach, and this is where we get to see how much so was Coach Isaac, or Coach Ike, such a great player, such a phenom back in his day, because we get to see him rewatch some of his old games, and once he sees him playing while he was his age and how he was playing, then he's completely on board. But then Jenna is actually being talked to by the other coaches within the AAU club circuit or whatever in the area, and they're all down talking Coach Isaac, saying his program don't have no money, that he don't know what he's doing, all of this stuff, and she wants to pull him out. Meanwhile, now Jace is like, okay, he basically was me, I want to stick with him, and Jenna's like, oh no, we might need to pull you out. So that is some of the stuff that he's actually struggling with in this episode, to all the way up towards the end of the episode where they have their first game, and they wind up losing because he doesn't hit these 2 free throws that he could hit. But also, they wind up losing, not even just because of the free throws, but because Jace lets the other team's coach get in his head. The other team coach is so pissed at the start of the game. He is whooping their behinds. Jace is literally putting in that work. This big program, or this big platform called Overtime, which reviews players and talks about what's the next players coming up in high school and college and all of that, comes in town to see him actually play because they're dubbing him, or think that they can dub him, the next phenom. So this first half of this game, he is showing up and showing out, and blended with his teammates really well. The boys have wanted Jace to be on their team, so they're really excited to have him. It's working out beautifully. It seems like, okay, this is going to be what it is, right? Cool. But second half, the coach from the other team starts talking crap, starts screaming, he's overrated, he ain't really that good, like all of these things that get into Jace's head, and then he starts to beat himself, and slowly but surely, the gap or the lead that they had on the other team starts to shorten, all the way down to where he gets fouled at the very last second of the game and then misses those free throws. So Jace struggles quite a bit in this episode. A personal thing that he struggles with is that we see his father leave very early on, and leaves this maze for him that he also has at this point. And I believe it's like 9 or 10 years ago that his father left that maze. So he's struggling, one, with not having a father. He's struggling, 2, at the start with not having a team and knowing that he needs a team. He's struggling, 3, with the pressure of Overtime coming to see him play and dubbing him as a up and coming phenom, which will also help his college perspectives, even his high school perspectives, and ultimately him making it to the NBA because that's what he wants. And then he struggles with this coach who's going to be honest and real with him and not going to kiss his behind like everybody else seems to. Oh, child, I almost forgot. He also struggles with the police, who tried to arrest him while he's taking out the trash because he looks like a boy who fits the description of a robbery. Don't we all? We all look like we fit the description. The boy's taking his trash out. You talking about where his ID? Why would he have that? His house is right there. I'm glad that they included it, but child, I'm also low-key over getting the reminders of how much these people don't want us in this goddamn country. But I digress. He has that moment. Ultimately, the police figure out who he is and releases him. And later on in the episode, he tells his mom that that's not the first time that happens. Even that is sad. So, like, there's a whole bunch of things stacked up against this young boy, which is what I think is so beautiful about this series, is how authentic it is. Not even speaking to the struggle that it is to try to make it from just being a talented kid in the DMV to the NBA, but all of the other life stuff that come into play as well, that can distract you, that can derail you, that can depress you. Like, there's so many things that people with talent have to beat in order to be great, in order to make it, and we don't always discuss that, and I do feel like this series is discussing that. Now, that is all of what's happening from Jace's perspective, but also what makes this series really dope is that we're getting a ton of backstory, and we're getting the perspective of Coach Ike. He was who Jace is now. However, I don't think that he made the right decisions. He might have got distracted and things got a little bit complicated, so he never actually finished and made it to where he wanted to be. And I thought that that was really, really interesting, because it's almost like he's going to be able to correct what he did wrong in his life through Jace, but then even that can get a little bit tricky if he gets too invested and too focused on living his life out through him. But what I will say is that from the start, it doesn't feel like he's going to go down that road and be that trope of a coach. It feels like he actually cares. It feels like he's not just trying to relive his glory days through Jace, but he actually thinks that Jace is special, and with the proper help that he feel like that maybe he didn't get, this boy can go on to do some amazing things, and I'm excited to see that. Doing a really quick comparison back to All-American, that's one of the things that I think is different as well. It's like Billy Baker came into Spencer's life and really helped change it, but as we gone along, and like now we're in season 4 of it, it has felt like, yes, he has helped Spencer, but a lot of what Billy did, I felt like was motivated by what Billy wanted for him and what he felt like Spencer would be able to do for his reputation, what he would be able to do, you know, for his overall morale, for what he felt about himself as a man. And I'm really excited to see what Coach Isaac does, because he seems really, really grounded in just helping Jace. He is ultimately going to come up by way of helping him and making him an even better player is going to look good on him. But from the start, it really don't feel like that's his motivation, and I'm really excited to see that. Now, Coach Isaac is running up against, he's working at this hardware store that he don't want to be working at. His wife or girlfriend is pregnant, and they seem like they are beautifully in love. We had that little black love moment. I'm like, yes, you better rub them feet. And then he also is coaching his AAU team. He has players' parents who aren't paying dues, and then the other coaches who are, one is mad because he stole Jace. It's like, no, he did not steal Jace. Jace's mama rolled up on him at his job and said that he was going to play for him now, and that's how that is. And then there's animosity amongst the other coaches within this AAU league towards him, so he's definitely going to be facing some type of sabotage or disrespect coming from them in that way. And then also, now he has the pressure of like, what is he going to do with this little ball of potential by the name of Jace? Now, he does make it a little bit complicated for himself at the end of this episode when we see they lose the game, and he walks up to the coach of the other team and tries to tell him, like, yo, they're just kids. What you did was messed up. And that man does say some slick shit. He says some slick stuff. And all Isaac got to say about that is, now, he made it harder for himself. He winds up in jail because of it. But am I mad that he did it? Nope. Did the coach deserve it? Yes. Did I want him to do a 2-piece? Absolutely. Because that coach was just completely disrespectful, y'all. Y'all gotta tell me what y'all thought about that coach in the comment section down below. Like, if I was Jenna, I would have said more than please shut the hell up. They would have had to take me about that gym. Which is probably why Jesus is waiting to give me kids, because I'm gonna be out here fighting for mine. Period. That's on period. Oh, there are a few lines that I thought was just so important that I actually wrote them down, right? So, one of the things that is said, Isaac says, scouting reports on 14-year-olds is bullshit. I love this because that let me know that he doesn't believe the Jace hype. And this is before he sees Jace play. when Jace gets an attitude and makes the ridiculous plumber line, he says, a lot of kids can ball, but can you get better and can you learn? I think that this is going to be the theme throughout the whole first season of can you get better and can you learn? Because you are already good, but are you going to stay here? What you finna do, Jace? You gonna show up and show out or what? Also, towards the end, when Jace asks Ike why he didn't make it to the league, he says too much outside noise. One of the mechanisms that they use within this series is that they have tweets pop up on the screen throughout the episodes to let you know what the outside noise is, what people are saying about him. He has his notifications on. Jace is very much so aware of what people are saying about him when it's good and when it's bad. And I think that that's going to be something that he's going to have to fight. And he's going to have to try to ignore. This is something that was definitely personified in the game with the coach actually blaring out all of this negative stuff. So I thought that that was great. Also, Jenna says, talented people who make the right decisions make it. And she's speaking about her pressure to make the right decisions around Jace. But this is going to be a running theme as well throughout the first season of can everybody around him make the right decisions for him? And can Jace make the right decisions? Because in all honesty, coming from where Jace comes from and the setup that he's in, it only takes one or two decisions to completely derail your life. And it's unfortunate, but it's real. And I love how they actually, in this episode, Jace takes down his NBA sign that he has in his room. And I thought, oh dang, like, is he losing his desire for his dream of making it to the NBA? But it's nah. He literally replaces that NBA sign and then he uses it as an acronym to say, never be afraid. Because in this episode, the thing that he was really struggling with, the thing that he wound up losing the game because of was fear. Fear of being a success. Fear of being the person who people believe him to be. Fear of actually rising to that next level and that next level and that next level. Y'all, this series is good. Melissa, you a real one. You a real one. I'm here. I am watching it, girl. I am with you, and now we are all watching it. If you have seen the first episode, let me know what you thought about it in the comment section down below. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button, turn on your bell notification, because I'm Erica Vane, and I'm breaking down all the hottest television, giving you all the great film reviews, and you don't want to miss it. So turn on your bell notifications, because YouTube be tripping, and like I said, you don't want to miss it. All right, y'all, this was so fun talking about Swagger. I will be back to talk about the rest of season 1, so keep it locked, and I'm about to jump in the comment section right now and respond. Bye.